Hey, Moss, welcome to the podcast, mate.
Hey Jordan, lovely to meet you.
Hey,
Finally.
you too, mate. I know it's been a little while, and we are just talking off air a little bit there. You got to four different countries in the holiday break, which are four different countries in 4 weeks, which is hard enough to even get your tongue around, let alone go and travel to do. So you look very refreshed, mate, and cracking for a new year.
100%. Look, fully refreshed, fully rested, back into the A game, should I say. But the business continues. While I was traveling, I was still hustling and haggling and, still on the phone. So none of my clients really felt that I was traveling. I told a few of my clients, hey, I'm calling in from Dubai. And they're like, what? What time is it there? I was like, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, but that's okay. You can still talk.
That's awesome, mate. Clients always come
Yeah,
first. I see.
that's it. That's it. That's it. That's it.
Cool, mate. Well, I guess on sort of that note, and in the space that you're in, and working with clients, I'm sure this is something that you've done yourself personally, and talked to many people about. But if you had your own sort of personal philosophy on building out a property portfolio, what would it be?
Look, I mean, I am big on sustainable property portfolios. I always say this to pretty much everyone that, if a property portfolio is not sustainable, you're only, paper rich, not cash rich, then you are definitely doing it, all wrong. So, you shouldn't be sacrificing your lifestyle while maintaining or building up a property portfolio. That's, rule 101 when it comes to property portfolio building. The other thing that I'm also big on as part of the property portfolio is that it needs to almost address the full life cycle of the property. It can't just be, residential. It can't just be buy or hold. It can't just be commercial. You have to slowly and gradually, improve, or should I say increase your risk appetite, and be in the space where, you take away this gamble of the market and, and start, manufacturing your own equity. The idea of mixing the yield, growth, and return, I almost see it as a different recipe. And there is one recipe that works for everyone, and it's almost like I call this as a fingerprint for every client. It's unique to yourself. It's unique to your circumstances. It cannot be replicated to someone else. And stealing it should definitely be a crime. So no one is allowed to steal your property portfolio. So that's a given. That's how I see about some of these things. Of course, I'm big on data, so I follow data quite evidently. I'm quite vocal about following data. Evidence-based investing, I always say, is the key to successful property investing. So you see a lot of people talking about positive cash flow, and you should go only for positive cash flow property. But my sort of thinking is that positive cash flow property or positive cash flow buying, of course it's good, but it's not a strategy in itself. It's one of the tools that you can use to build up a strategy or expand your strategy or put your strategy on steroids. But as far as the holistic portfolio goes, everything needs to be considered. It's not so much about just positive cash flow. It's also about manufacturing equity. It's also about, how do you make sure that you go for hybrid models where you're mixing residential with commercial. So yeah, I can talk hours and hours on this, but when it comes to top one liner, I would say sustainable property portfolios without sacrificing lifestyle. I think that's the key.
Yeah, cool. I love that. And it sounds like you put a lot of thought process and have seen that probably changed over time. And I mean, is that something, or what would you go back and tell yourself if you could when you first started building out your portfolio?
Yeah, look, I would say believe everyone, but trust yourself. Trust in yourself is a lot better than believing other people. Trust the data, trust evidence-based investing, of course. But earlier in the process, what I was always sort of worried about was I used to look, everyone makes mistakes, yeah. So if there is one chance that if you want to go back and tell yourself, I would say go into a property development space a lot faster, a lot quicker, and get some education there. People have this still sort of stereotype that you need a lot of cash to do property developments. You don't. You just need a good team, and you just need good partners to be next to you. So one's strength is another's weakness. It comes really, really true when it comes to property development space. So that is where you take the gamble out of the market completely and basically manufacture your own equity and put your property portfolio on steroids. So the less the people are, holding themselves back. If people are holding themselves back, I would suggest them to, go in there and test the waters out as to what development is all about and how do you go in. One thing that I would do definitely if I have to go back and start building my portfolio again is I would start, doing developments a lot quicker, a lot faster, and I would put a lot more focus on, properties with development potential rather than just, normal buy and hold sort of strategies.
Yeah, that's cool. And I think, you've touched on that already in terms of having different tools in your toolkit to go through. And, it's not common, especially in the sort of space that I've found that, these sort of sit and hold investors go down that development route. So yeah, if you're well adversed and experienced, I think it's a good area to delve into, and it might be another way to, as you say, steroid your property portfolio. In terms of your own sort of personal portfolio, and I suppose you don't have to go into intricate too much details, but was there a particular mistake that you made along the way that you'd feel would be good to relay on the others and help others avoid making that same mistake?
Yeah, 100%. Look, everyone makes mistakes, yeah, and I'm never shy about sharing my own sort of mistakes and helping people understand and realize, that I'm standing here today because of my mistakes. It only makes you grow stronger and, move faster. That's how I look at mistakes. So one of the earlier mistakes that I was doing, especially as part of my journey, was I was buying properties with single exit strategies. I'm big on exit strategies now. And when I say single exit strategies, basically, an exit strategy could very well be that you buy a property and you sell it. That's one exit strategy, okay? If you have multiple exit strategies for a particular property, that gives you a lot more control on how you build your portfolio, how you grow your portfolio, and holding your properties while you're riding out various property cycles. So that's something that I'm very mindful of when I'm dealing with my clients these days. I'm very mindful of even when I'm acquiring my properties for myself. Having various exit strategies. Just buy, hold, sell. It should be buy, hold, subdivide, buy, hold 1 into 2, buy, hold, renovate, buy, hold, build a granny at the back, buy, hold something. There should be so many buy, hold, just, do a plan of subdivision and sell it. So there needs to be various exit strategies for you to consider for every property. And that gives you basically the leverage that you need on the property, if the market goes south or, macro environments does not let you go in the direction that you're choosing to go towards. You can add yield quickly, to your portfolio, change the configuration of the house, convert a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom to 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom, boost up the rent, and hold the property if the interest rate starts rising, etc. So yeah, that is something that I'm always very sort of conscious of now. And yes, I truly admit that I've made those mistakes in the past where I would buy with the single exit strategy properties.
Yeah, that's a great one. And it's again, when you think about that sort of typical buy and hold investor, it's you kind of like, oh, this is a great asset and I can hold on to this for the long term, but there are some other alternatives that you can go down as well. And I think it's so good that you've highlighted it. And I think, it's potentially why you've sort of turned that passion for property into a bit of a career. And it's something that I see happen quite a bit, in terms of the space that we're in and people who start to build out their portfolio, and that the passion just doesn't stop at that one property. I mean, what was it for you that sort of sparked that journey into creating a career from it and helping others on their journey?
Yeah, look, 100%. Yeah, I'm an accountant and a data analyst by profession. That's where my niche comes in place. I've worked with some big multinationals in my, prior life, but property was always, something that I wanted to do and achieve. And, as I got more and more deeper into the property, I looked for, tired, lazy properties to see the best in them or, try to do something with them. But, it was just by surprise that, I bought one of the properties that I didn't knew could be developed. And, in one of the networking, sessions or networking conversations, I met, my director, Jonathan, who's part of the company now, and we run the company together. And we crossed paths, and he said, "Hey, by the way, this property that you have is a development property." He helped me do that development almost like 9 years ago now. And that was the start of my journey. I was like, great, let's do this. This is great. This is the path that I want to take. So yeah, slowly and gradually, that's where, I started moving towards, and it just literally opened the doors for me. So yeah.
That's awesome, mate. And it's such a good journey to see people go through that transition and all the different avenues they go down and the success stories. I absolutely love hearing them. But I guess to sort of wrap things off, I mean, there's 1,001 of them out there, but if you had a favorite property one-liner, what would it be?
Yeah, look, I mean, I can think of a million, you're right. But, one thing that I've said this numerous number of times, and I've posted it out there and people have talked about some of these as well. A single property liner is you can become knowledgeable from others' knowledge, but you cannot become wise from others' wisdom. So, it's, you can't just absorb, wisdom from other people. So you can learn as much as you want. So understanding that the power of knowledge, understanding the difference of the knowledge, power, and wisdom is quite the key. Knowledge is just the potential or the application. Application of the knowledge is power, whereas when and where to apply that knowledge is basically wisdom. So you see people spending time on preparations and implementations without idealizing where do they want to be or where do they want to go. So ultimately it would never work, because if you're spending time on preparation and implementation but you don't know where you're going, what's the way out for it? So it's quite a powerful sort of one-liner. I don't know where I heard. I can't claim responsibility of this as mine, but it is a very powerful statement. I live and abide by pretty much on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, absolutely love that. That's a cracker. It's kind of like you don't know what you don't know. Like you can know as much as you can learn from other people. You can learn one exit strategy or two exit strategies, but it's not until you grasp everything that's out there and then see how it's actually been used in action and doing it yourself and have your feet in the trenches to gain that wisdom over decades. It doesn't just happen overnight. And then you understand how to apply that wisdom over time as well. So I love it, mate. That's a cracking one. Well,
100%.
Thanks for your time tonight. Thanks for coming on, Moss.
Thank you very much, Jordan. It was lovely to chat to you. This was great.
No worries. I'll speak to you soon.
Ciao.